Okay, so picture this. You're managing a server farm, maybe a render farm, and you're drowning in hardware.
Yeah, that command-centered nightmare.
Exactly. I'm talking 16 different monitors, 16 keyboards, 16 mice. It's not just messy, it's completely unusable.
You spend more time just rolling your chair between stations than actually, working.
Right. But today we're doing a deep dive on a piece of hardware that claims to fix that exact problem. It's the NTI UNIMUX-HD4K18GB-16.
It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it?
It really is.
But under that long name, it's essentially a high-end 16-port 4K HDMI USB KVM switch.
So it's the central nervous system for a huge digital workspace. The whole idea is you can control 16 computers with, just one keyboard, one mouse, and one monitor.
A 4K monitor, yeah. And it actually scales. If you daisy chain them, you can control up to 32 computers from that single station.
That is just a staggering amount of computing power for one desk. Now, looking at the build, this is clearly not for a casual home office.
Oh, no. It comes with a rack mount kit right in the box. It's all high-quality steel construction. It's meant to live in a server rack.
Which makes sense, but usually when you get that industrial-grade gear, you kind of sacrifice things like video quality.
And that's what's so interesting here. That's not the case at all. This thing supports Ultra HD 4K at 60 Hz.
I saw that in the specs. It also lists 4.4.4 color depth. Now, I see that number a lot, but for a server admin, does that really matter?
Surprisingly, yes.
Yeah.
It matters a lot. 4.4.4 basically means there is zero color compression.
Okay.
So if you're just watching a movie, maybe you don't notice.
Yeah.
But if you're reading fine text in a server log or looking at code, that compression can make text like blurry or washed out. This keeps it razor sharp.
Ah, that makes perfect sense. But this brings up another weirdly specific issue I saw in the notes, something about a boot glitch.
Yeah, the true auto boot feature. This solves a classic headache in these kinds of setups.
But hang on, if I'm not looking at the screen, why do I care if the computer thinks a mouse is attached? If it's just running a task in the background, what's the big deal?
It's a huge deal because of how computers start up. When you power on a PC, the BIOS does a check for a keyboard and a mouse.
Right.
If it doesn't find them, a lot of systems will simply halt. They won't continue the boot process.
So you could flip the main breaker for your whole render farm, nothing would happen.
The other 15 machines might just fail to start. You'd have to manually switch to each one by one, just to get them to turn on. It would be a nightmare.
Wow.
So this NTI switch uses dedicated internal microprocessors to emulate a keyboard and mouse for every computer all the time. Every single machine thinks you're sitting right there.
Okay, so that prevents a total logistical disaster. Now, let's talk about what you're plugging in. It says it has transparent USB ports. Is that just marketing speak for it works?
It's actually a really important technical difference. Most KVMs, they emulate a generic, basic mouse and keyboard to keep things simple.
But that breaks custom drivers, right?
Exactly. You plug in a gaming mouse with programmable side buttons or a drawing tablet, and a standard KVM just strips all that extra data out. Your expensive hardware becomes a basic pointer.
So transparent means it doesn't do that.
Right. The switch effectively disappears. The computer sees the actual device, not some generic copy. That's why you can use touchscreens, flash drives, anything.
And I'm assuming it covers all the usual operating systems, Windows, Linux.
All of them. Windows from 7 to 11, Linux, FreeBSD, and it specifically supports macOS, including the extra function keys.
Okay, good to know. So with this steel chassis, the emulation processors, 4K support, this feels like some serious professional grade gear. I'm guessing it's not priced for my bedroom gaming setup?
You would be right about that. The MSRP is $2,345.
Whoa, okay, that is a serious number.
It is, but you really have to look at it as infrastructure. This is a TAA-compliant device. It has a 2-year warranty. If you're managing a broadcast center, replacing 16 monitors and keyboards pays for itself in space and energy savings alone.
It's an investment in pure efficiency.
And, frankly, insanity.
It really makes you think, though, about the limits of multitasking. I mean, as we build these setups that let us control 32 machines at once, are we really limited by the hardware anymore? Or just by how many screens our brains can actually track before we, short circuit?
That's the real bottleneck, isn't it? The switch can handle all the data you can throw at it. But the human operator is, well, we're still running on legacy hardware.
Something to think about next time you have too many tabs open. Thanks for listening to this deep dive.